Hello and welcome to Videogamer.com's Game of the Year 2010. We are finally at number 7.
I was waiting for number 7.
Everyone was. It's StarCraft 2. This is me choosing a mission. This is the most exciting bit of this entire video.
I'm also on this video, yeah. And so is Emily.
Hello.
Emily is turning into some kind of queen.
I'm so sick right now.
This is how Kerrigan felt when she was originally infected.
Rough.
Emily's actually in some kind of chrysalis as we're recording this, and she might hatch. She might have got wings.
She's pupating.
StarCraft 2 then, that came out quickly, didn't it? That was they did a bit of a rush job on this one.
That's the trouble. It's been patched. I mean, they fixed most of the horrible bugs via patches, but
no, you've got to blow up the horrible bugs. I was thinking, like, the Zerg don't really have any kind of culture, do they? They're kind of just insecty.
Not really. Yeah.
They have one good culture.
Cell culture.
Rush,
okay, right. But they don't, they don't build things or temples. There's no religion.
No.
They're just like a thing. No. So somebody must have decided to call them the Zerg. And who made that name up?
The Zonagar.
Oh, really?
They genetically engineered.
Look at you.
You've read the books, haven't you?
No.
I've always wondered who reads those books. It's you. You pick them up on your Sunday shop when you picked up some D20 and all things. Fair enough. Because I was just thinking, like...
the Zerg were genetically engineered by, like, an alien master race called the Zonagar, who also made the Protoss.
Okay.
Right.
And why are they called Zerg?
I think it's onomatopoeic.
For what?
I don't. I'm making that. Zerg.
This is a very good game. I don't really know. It's not an easy one to watch, is it? Really?
No. You click stuff.
Yes. Now you see how those dudes are firing at that. That's because I clicked on that.
Right.
Now I'm doing an especially piss poor job of this because not only am I slightly ill when we record it, I'm also playing with one hand.
Oh, everyone's complaining about slightly ill. What? You were ill with your hand?
No, I just had a slight twinge of macabre.
A twinge of macabre.
Twinge of macabre sentiment.
I don't know what that means.
Festering in my brains,
and therefore that meant you found it difficult.
All right, and I was playing with one hand. I don't know why I was doing that.
Well,
I thought it was amusing at the time.
It's a pretty game. Do you want to hear my rubbish StarCraft 2 joke?
Yeah.
I love them.
What do you call a Protoss that hasn't quite got really good yet?
I don't know.
No.
Amateur toss.
That's amazing.
It took me hours to come up with that. It took me almost as long to come up with that as it did for Blizzard to make their sequel. Emily, why do you like StarCraft 2?
Because I like RTS games. There you go. Easy peasy.
I like it. Do you care to elaborate? And what does you like about RTS games? Does it make you feel superior ordering all these little people around?
There's something just really satisfying, like particularly with StarCraft, about coming up with a really decent build mode and watching it just come to fruition and work out so perfectly well. And I just, I enjoy sort of tactical games. And
are you quite precise with your strategy then?
My method is going onto a forum and seeing what they say works and doing that.
That is mine.
Cheaty. See,
no, that's how it's done.
If I was a general, I'd be the kind of general where I go, right now, listen, Commander, we need to decide what do we need for the coming mission. I'd be like, what looks pretty? We could build a library over here, and that provides access to these kind of rocket men. You did a rise up saying, look, rocket men are really not appropriate for this mission. I don't care, rocket men, they look cool. Look, we can hire some mercenaries. But mercenaries are actually very expensive, and they're just providing. They say, no, we want mercenaries. Get the mercenaries. They're building falls from the sky, and
I think one of the things this does well is because a lot of people who aren't too keen on RTSs online don't like it because they want to build up a nice glamorous base and like preen a selection of units, whereas in multiplayer you've just got to like get stuff out the door really quickly and go for it, but the single player campaign has a lot of like sort of RPG light elements that let you sort of level your units up, and you sort of get to sort of play with your army as if they were fancy
and it's very
toys.
Good as well, isn't it? I mean, I wasn't surprised that I liked this game, but I was quite surprised by how good the storytelling was. I'd kind of forgotten that StarCraft can tell quite a good little yarn, It's
a little bit cheesy, but there's a certain affable quality to it.
Yeah, and Jim is just a decent character.
Yeah, good old Jim Raynor.
He really loves a good drink.
And the way they kind of have, we're not going to see it in this video, but the way you have things like the kind of the hubs between missions, you know, the sort of hanging out on the bridge of your ship or in a bar, and
I love the news
little
reports.
iPods, the news reports, and the little kind of iPod
Yeah.
spoofs on in the background. The fact that
And just the whole look of the Hyperion is
Totally.
fantastic. Just a sort of moving picture.
you can even play the arcade machine in the background.
Yeah.
It's great.
The Lost Viking.
The Lost Viking.
A little bit of a nod there to the Lost Vikings.
That was rubbish.
I don't get it.
Shut up.
It is rubbish. The Lost Vikings.
Shut up.
You didn't get it. Lost Vikings was a game about 3 Vikings
Yeah,
who
I
got
know.
lost,
Yeah.
and then
She
it's
did
a
get
long
it.
way
I
back.
did.
She
Yeah.
did get
Get
it.
it.
You
sure?
got double pwned.
Because your Viking is also a ship, and
What?
it's been lost. You see,
What's a ship?
it's like a car but for
This
the
is
sea.
extraordinarily meta.
How it was worth the wait. This game, wasn't it? Really.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was quite nice to have a PC game that wasn't an MMO, being
Well,
and
yes.
a real event as well.
Because Blizzard did release Cataclysm a few months later,
Yes.
which was also a big event. But it's just, it feels a bit like a kind of game that went away and now has sort of come back a bit. Because the StarCraft 2 sort of leagues and stuff. This isn't my best moment, by the way.
Yeah, Russian with the workforce. That'll do.
Look, it does the job.
Brothers
right?
unite.
I'm not going to spoil this video, but I do get it done in the end. But yeah, like
Pathetic.
RTSs went away, and StarCraft 2 sort of gone like, look, they're pretty good. Buy them, and I think it's done all pretty well.
It's not just that. It's just that you look at, I was a massive Command & Conquer player, Red Alert in particular, and Red Alert 3 was okay, but Command & Conquer 4 sort of fell by the wayside. And the other kind of games that have been doing well within the genre, stuff like Dawn of War and
Yeah.
Company Heroes and stuff like that, it's all been moving away from the kind of the traditional setup. And although this does embrace RPG light mechanics, it's still very much a kind of traditional grab as many shiny things as you can and then use them to build little men's, and then the little men's build a house and then they build a bigger house.
It's a nice.
How do you prefer StarCraft to Warcraft?
I've always liked. Generally, if there's the option to like space or a fantasy setting, I will prefer the space version of it.
Right.
Why?
I just
Is it
think
identical
space
then?
is cooler.
Because I didn't really play the original StarCraft. I played Warcraft instead. So is it more or less identical to Warcraft?
No, well
Well, it depends. Warcraft 1 and 2, yeah. Like, but then Warcraft 3 came along and did all that stuff with heroes.
Yeah.
Which this doesn't have.
but even then, like the really great thing about the original StarCraft is in Warcraft, the orcs and the humans are sort of fairly similar, right? They've got parallels. They play quite similarly. Whereas with StarCraft, you had these 3 vastly different races who really did play in a very different style. It was more like Age of Empires, really.
and that was when they first did that. That was revolutionary.
Was this it was StarCraft, but after Age of Empires?
I think it was before. As far as I'm aware, there was never like 3 different races was something like Blizzard did first.
Yeah.
And if they didn't, they certainly did it in a way that I now think that they did it first. So well done to them.
Would you rather be a Zerg or a Protoss?
Protoss.
Why?
I just think it was slightly cooler, aren't you?
Emily,
I like Terran.
you want to be? You can't be Terran. That's human.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, you can be.
Yeah,
human.
no,
I'm not
I
going to
mean,
labour it because
yeah.
you're not well.
It's
but-
hard to visualize yourself in an alien's body when you're so used to being human.
I don't know. I kind of I do it a lot, really.
Yeah, no, Protoss look badass.
Yeah, and they've got like arm blades, and they're like, my life for ire, which is destroyed now.
I know some people say, oh, the graphics in this aren't that great, and I suppose by the standards of proper, really over the top. Wow, look, this cost $8 billion sort of thing. It's not super flashy, but I love the detail in the graphics and the detail if you can like zoom in and actually watch the models working and stuff, and the characters, the personality of all the designs and the models.
Yeah, I think I think the consoles and the first-person shooters have got to a point now where, for some reason, people are obsessed over and they always have been, but the graphics. I find it just a moot point for this because, I mean, look, it's quite a good-looking game,
and it's optimized really well to run.
Yeah, and it runs on so many sort of hardware configurations, which isn't easy to do, and so much detail goes into the actual aesthetic, and there's so many different sort of types of place you go to. Like, they tick off all the stereotypical boxes, fiery bits, icy bits, spacey bits, planety, deserty bits. And that's probably a lot. There's a lot of assets in this, and it all comes together really nicely.
What I'm curious to see is, obviously this game has been very, very well received, and rightly so, but it will be interesting to see how the next game fares, because The Terrans, you know, okay, fine, they're kind of quite Space Marine-y. And the fact that it's just them, in the single-player campaign at least, on their Todd, then, you know, you get the impression that that's fair enough, that most people are going to handle that. I don't know, like... I know they're taking a slightly different approach. They're supposedly going to be taking a slightly different approach with the Zerg-only game, but I think that's a much harder sell, a campaign where you're just playing as
the
Zerg.
campaign they've got works very well for the way the Terrans are, like sort of ransacking their way across the universe, salvaging stuff, fixing things, whacking stuff with hammers till it works. Like that, what they've done works really well. But for the Zerg, you're like, you know, how does the Zerg work? Do you get like a message from the Overmind? Well, I can't say Overmind. A message from some sort of, you know, leader thing, and then it makes you go and do something. Like, I don't know. Like, it'll be interesting what they do.
I just hope we don't have to wait 14 years to find out. Kerrigan. There she is. That's what's going to happen to you when your cold gets worse, you see.
That is what's happened to me.
You get dreads and your eyes glow.
Space dreads.
Quite handy when you need to go to the bathroom late at night.
I won that, despite my best efforts to not when I did the SCV rush.
Have a milk and cookie
Thank you very much.
combo.
StarCraft 2 is good.